Good evening to all. I first thanks to organizing this having for this function, giving the opportunity. My few words. Mr. T.S. Parvali held many posts from Development Office Association and become a officer and became getting a leader of state and all India level. At this juncture, we have remembered to this designate towards our people in thanks him for all our efforts to put the welfare of our employee whenever where the need. We thank him all the contribute done him your welfare and organization and would give the further support also. On behalf of GSM Employees Union, we wish happy and peaceful and retired life. Thank you.
Respected dignitaries on the dais and my dear officers from all subsidiaries, I am Srinivasan from National Insurance and is Mr. Tyagarajan from National Insurance Officers Association President. I am the Secretary. On behalf of NICOA, we just want to honor Mr. Parvali.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been hearing a lot of wonderful experiences of our industry persons with Mr. T.S. Parvali. And now to add on color to this function and expecting to know something interesting about his other side, may I invite Mr. Arvind Kumar, CEO of Attune Technologies, is none other than son-in-law of Mr. T.S. Parvali.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, both on the dais and off the dais. Yeah, as I said, my name is Arvind. I am son-in-law of Mr. Parvali. I don't know him as a leader, but I know him as a great gentleman. So I would like to kind of talk about, three phases that I know him of. One, before our marriage, during the day of our marriage, and then post-marriage. So the very first time I saw him, we actually thought he was my girlfriend's brother. So all my friends came and said, "Macha, it's very difficult. She has a brother who is tall, dark, and handsome." I said, "Yeah." Then I was thinking, how am I going to handle this person, right? Yeah, I know. Then, to my utter shock, I realized that he is not the brother, but he's actually the father. So the situation became even worse, right? How am I going to handle this tall, dark, handsome father, right? And this was in college, and of course, they didn't know what both of us were up to at that time. Later, when my current wife, but she got into Satyam, I got into Square D. I was in Malaysia. That's when we decided we have to inform our parents. First, we said, why don't you tell your parents first, and then we will go and tell my parents. I had already told my mom, so my mom is more a friend. So I had already told her. My mom and my sister knew, but none of them from her family knew. So I had come from KL and so we decided we will kind of meet up and tell. Then all this memory started coming back, how am I going to deal with this, tall, dark, handsome guy again? So, but then I remember I met him in Shakes and Dreams, and I told him, by the time my wife had already told him, but then she was not my wife yet, but then she had already told him that whom he's going to meet. So I met him, so he was already fully apprised of what the conversation was going to be. Then I told him, you know what, uncle, we are in love and we want to get married. Then he asked me only one question, are you absolutely sure? I said, yeah, I am absolutely sure. but I will have to convince my parents, so which means I don't know how much time I will take. I'm not going to run away with your daughter, but I need some time to convince my parents. Then he asked me how much time you need. I said I had no idea, because I had no clue how much time I was going to take to convince my parents, because I had to convince my parents, my grandparents from both sides, my aunt, my uncle. We were an absolute joint family. So I didn't want to do anything without getting their blessings and whatnot, right? So I said, I don't know, whatever time it takes. So from the point of that conversation till the point of wedding, this gentleman did not even ask me once, when are you going to decide this? And I know the kind of pulls and pressures the family had gone at that time, because yeah, people were asking for her to be married. There were all kinds of proposals coming in. They couldn't tell the truth, but the truth was that we were going to get married, and I couldn't tell the dates of when we would go ahead and marry. So, so he gave me that kind of freedom, trust, belief, and this was all like 1 or 2 meetings, and we had not met a lot of time before that. And I don't think a lot of people would have that kind of ability to believe in to-be son-in-law. So that's number one. So for the preparation of the marriage, and on the day of the marriage and subsequent to it, I think he just went crazy, because what he would have taken me to the mandapam, I don't know, maybe like 20 times to figure out how to plan food arrangements. So the guy who was doing the catering, he called up and said, "Neenga mattum vaanga, don't bring your father-in-law." So that's the number of times we went. At some point in time, I was also thinking, what is he trying to do? Why is he taking me so many times to the chowdhury? But on the day of the wedding, when I saw the crowd, I was like, wow, man. So I've never seen so many people under one roof. Forget about the wedding, but except for cricket matches and football matches and whatnot, right? But for a wedding, so when they switched off the light, and I was standing in the stage, when they switched off the light, I could see the queue. And that queue never ended, starting from 7 o'clock in the evening and 10:30 in the night. That's when I was thinking, okay, all this planning, was required. So my important takeaway for that was, when I planned for my sister's marriage, I just copied what and all my father-in-law did. I implemented it fully, and it was a super duper success. So the full credit of the planning and organization that went into my sister's marriage goes to my father-in-law. And post-marriage, so I was working for 7-8 years. Then, I don't know if you would like to call it a midlife crisis or whatnot, right? So I said, this whole IT thing is boring. I have to figure out what's happening outside of it. So I went to IIM Calcutta to do my MBA program. So 2 months into the program, by the time I was actually going to study my MBA, I took my GMAT, went and got selected in IIM Calcutta. By the time my elder son was already like 3-4 years, so I was married. My elder son was not a little more than that, right? Yeah, I think he was doing like first standard or so. Yeah, for 5 years. So I would be practically out of job for 1 year, where my wife had to work and had to boil the rice and whatnot, right, to take care of the family, and also to pay for my education expenses. So this was a plan, and we planned it quite well. So I went into IIM Calcutta. 2 months into the program, I decided that I am going to start up a company. Don't ask me why, but I just, I decided I have to start up a company. So my wife had come to Calcutta. Then I told her, what, I'm going to do this. Then she, as usual, was extremely supportive. During the term break, so I told my wife, I told my sister, and both of them were in agreement, but I didn't know how to tell again this tall, dark, handsome man, right? How am I going to tell him that, what, for the next, I don't know how many number of years your daughter is going to earn, and I am going to, try and do whatever I have to do in the startup. But then when and incidentally, what happened when I came back to Chennai, Economic Times, I came back to Chennai to discuss this with my family, and now this time it's not just my family. From my side, I also have to talk to my my wife's family. So when I came back from Calcutta to Chennai, Economic Times ran a front page article that says, IIM Calcutta grad gets 1 crore salary. So that doesn't make my life easier at all, right? Now, So now here I was opting out of placements and trying to start a company. But when I went and told him, he didn't utter a word. He said, all the best, you should try and do this. So don't worry about family and other things, we will all support you. So again, that's the kind of nature that he has. The first year of business, to put it mildly, was terrible. Right, so we didn't know how to pay next month's salary. We went through all kind of issues, but still, as of today, he has never came and asked me, why are you doing all these things? You should not be doing. Now there is no reason, but even when we had all the reasons, when he had all the right reasons to come and ask, he never asked. And that 1.5 years was extremely difficult situation for us, both professionally and personally. But he has been a good, great support in the process. Today we are a 300-member company. We have operations in 12 different countries. And by the way, we are customers of, other way around, right? New India is our customer. So we buy insurance policy of New India. So, in the whole process, as I told you when I started this, I don't know him as a great leader, but I do know him as a great person. So this is a revelation for me when I came into the meeting to, when people call him captain, greatest leader. So he has set an extraordinary benchmark for some of us to follow. And he will always continue to be my good friend and mentor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Arvind. You have shared with us your love story. Of course, our captain has not been a villain to your love story. We are very proud for it. And you shared about the qualities of our leader, Mr. T.S. Paruli, and it is not a wonder to us, as we know our leader is personified with extraordinary qualities in all the roles he plays, whether in his family or in the career. And now, I request Mr. Sri S.S. Yadav, Chairman of Oriental Insurance Companies Officers Association, to felicitate the gathering. I request Mr. Harihara Murthy to honor Mr. S.S. Yadav with the bouquet.
Good evening, everyone. I am S.S. Yadav from Delhi. Respected Srinivasan sir, Ravi Shankar, Paroli, this side family and my this side family. Good evening to all of you. In fact, this is the occasion. Vijay has spoken, Srinivasan, my Vijay has also spoken. My predecessors almost have spoken, and I don't understand now why, what to speak new. But the clue has been given by Mr. Arvind. I can share I have been associated with him for around 15, 17 years. We have been together with Confederation. He has been one of the strong member of Confederation team. Cyril has been there, and if I remember, then it started with R.K. Dwivedi. Vijay Srinivasan was there and Paroli was there. I entered into this Confederation functioning in 2000. And since then we have been closely associated. No doubt we have been sharing the discussions at GIPSA level, etc., etc. Everyone knows that. Cyril had pointed out North Indians call him Paroli, and he is Paroli. And it was Cyril who told me that what is the meaning of Paroli. And probably the logo of NIOA has been created to show the light by Paroli only. And this is the only reason I can make out. We have very, amusing memories. And the memories we have been together at Hyderabad in 2005, 2002, like 1st August 2002. I remember there was a meeting of confederation in Nagpur in October. And it was in April, and me and Cyril were there in Patna in our AGM, and the meeting was being conducted by NIOA, Nagpur unit. We traveled right from Patna to Itarsi, had a break for 4 hours, and then again boarded the train for Nagpur, me and Cyril. And the level of discussions, no doubt, whenever this team used to be there comprising of Paroli, the level of discussions had gone very high. I virtually have learned a lot from Mr. Paroli, Mr. Cyril, Mr. Vijay Srinivasan, and ultimately this confederation, it has seen its height in their leadership. This industry, I believe, as a whole, cannot forget the contribution made by leaders like Mr. Paroli. And in fact, I have been a witness to it. The confederation they have taken to these heights, and slowly and gradually the leaders are now retiring, and obviously we are banking upon our second lines. Arvind used wonderful words, that tall, black and handsome. Wonderful words. But Paroli, I have always seen a wonderful, handsome personality. The color I couldn't see. He has been logical. He has been convincing. And once he believes in himself to be on the right side, you cannot shake him even an inch. This has been number of times. Maybe Mr. Cyril is there, me is there, Jyoti is there, Avdesh Jha is there, Vijay Srinivasan. No. He even used to convince Cyril, no Cyril, this is it. And this is because of it. I have seen those days, I have enjoyed those days. As a friend, he is a wonderful friend, no doubt about it. I am 100% in agreement that he never used to make sleep anybody else also early, unless the issue is settled or everyone is settled. He never used to sleep. Paroli, no doubt we all will be missing. But you should not be missed. And I am pretty sure wherever he will be, he will make the people feel his presence anytime, every time, all the times. There is a saying in, there are a couplet in Hindi, जहां भी जाएगा वो रोशनी लुटाएगा, किसी चिराग का कोई मका नहीं होता. Its English version says like, wherever he will go, he will light the atmosphere because he is a lamp, he is a source of light, and he doesn't have his own contentment for that. He is meant to make the people lit with his light. This is the meaning of this couplet. A wonderful period, wonderful times we have passed on. As a personal friend, we will remain friends. And to share with all of you, he is younger to me because I retired on 30th April this year. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks, Paroli.
Thank you, sir. Now, I'm here to mention that Mr. Shri S.S. Yadav has especially flown in from Delhi to attend this function. Thank you, sir. Now comes the felicitation by Shri Jose Varghese, President of CONFED. Please come, sir.
On behalf of UUA, we felicitate Mr. Paroli on his superannuation.
I request Mr. Sivashankaran to honor Shri Jose Varghese, President of CONFED, with a bouquet. And I request Mr. Natesan to honor Shri C.A. Bhaskar, former Secretary General of CONFED.
My respects to Chairman Mr. G. Srinivasan, Mr. Paroli, Mrs. Paroli, leaders of New India on the stage, and our leaders and seniors and all the colleagues across the dais also. I have actually, as a leader, always taken over positions after very illustrious leaders. For in United India, I took over leadership when after a long tenure of Mr. C.A. Bhaskar and Mr. Vijay Srinivas. So it's always challenging when you take up, when your predecessors are very illustrious. And something similar happened when I took over a National Confederation.